My presentation will be about how to opt out of the EU, but it's not related only to the EU. It can be applied basically to any country, including Argentina. But I'm going to talk about specific situation in the EU because there are a lot of people who would like to leave from the EU, for example, to Latin America. So firstly, I would like to ask you, what can you see on this picture? What's there? Yeah. So it's you. It's you in a prenatal state signing a social contract where you agreed that you will be like a tax slave for the rest of your life. This is like a current interpretation how like a social contract work. Basically, everybody signed it. No one knows when exactly, but we sign it, and we are basically slaves of the government. You can see it, especially if you have military service or you are a tax resident. So the first thing you should be aware that we are living in a really nasty world, and we have borders, we have citizenship, we have residencies. So basically, concept of borders and citizenship is a really new concept. It didn't exist here like more than 100, 200 years ago. Basically, all states in the world, or all countries in the world, they are trying not to discriminate people based on their religion, based on their gender, based on the age, for example, or race. But all countries discriminate people based on the place of their citizen, on their like a birthplace, and this is called visa policy. It's widely accepted discrimination, so you should be aware of that. And depending on the place where you were born, you have a lot of duties. You have tax slavery, you have military duties, and then there is also a concept of like residencies, permanent residencies. Also, a lot of duties, especially in European Union, are associated with a residency. You have to pay, for example, health and social insurance just because you are resident and you have income in the given country. And sometimes it can be really difficult to opt out of this system and just to be a free person. So one important information what you should be aware that basically we are just living in this nasty world. And if you want to, you have to play the rules of this world to be 100% legal. But when you find out how to play this rule, you can win, or you can liberate your life and just achieve freedom. So the goal for me, and not for me, but for most people, is to have the most freedom. And the most freedom means to have the best cards in your wallet. I know it's really dumb, but that's how it is. So this is like, for example, passport of some kids and navies. This passport can be bought for $300,000 and more. This is like a cedula, like a national ID of Paraguay. When you have tax residency in this country, you don't need to pay taxes if you have foreign income. Only like a local Paraguayan income, you need to declare and pay taxes. And then you have like the best American Express visa signature. When you have this card, you are also supposed to be like a special VIP person, and you can use like for example, special security check at the airport. So the question is just to think about if I have already the best citizenship and tax residency. And if not, how it's possible to get my permanent residency, tax residency, healthcare insurance, social insurance, and bank account. So still, EU citizenship is good. EU passport is good. And if you're Argentinian or Uruguayan, you should definitely ask for Italian passport, or you should definitely ask for Spanish passport. I know that 2 million or even more than 2 million Argentinians, they have Italian passport. So having Italian passport, it's definitely a good idea. Having European residency with all obligations, it's definitely not a good idea. It's not a good idea to be a tax resident of Italy, for example, because now in Italy you have to pay 42% taxes from crypto, from Bitcoin. It's crazy. So you want Italian passport, but you don't definitely want to be tax resident of Italia. So usually citizenship provides you a lot of benefits because it means that you have like a special government protection, and unless you have like a really bad citizenship, like a US citizenship or citizenship of Hungary or Tajikistan, in these countries, you are basically tax slave, and it doesn't matter where you move. For example, if you are the US citizen and you move to Argentina and your income is more than $120,000 yearly, you still have a duty to declare your income and pay taxes in the US for the IRS. So also a lot of citizenship are associated with the military duties. Exactly this kind of citizenship we don't want. For example, my citizenship is Slovak one. It's a relatively good one because we don't have like a military service associated with this citizenship because it's associated with a permanent residency. So immediately when I gave up my permanent residency, I canceled my military service. Also, but the problem is, for example, the Slovak citizen, also Czech citizen, they cannot have like a no tax residency. So for example, if I travel all the time, every day I'm in a different country, my government can ask you, hey, what's your tax residency? Where do you pay taxes? And I cannot say, I don't pay taxes because I'm moving every day, I'm staying every day in a different country, because they will usurp you according to my citizenship. And that's exactly why most European needs good tax residency country like Paraguay, for example, because thanks to the fact that I'm tax resident of Paraguay, I can just say to my government, hey, I'm tax resident of Paraguay, I don't live in Slovakia, in the EU, I don't have any duties here. So these are the reasons why it is a good idea to consider the better citizenship and passport. For example, if you have like a really bad passport and citizenship that gives you a global tax liability, like the American or Hungarian passport, if citizenship makes you liable to conscription, like a military service, and if you're just weak passport and you cannot travel to the most countries, I would like to say that Argentinian passport it's the best, together with Chilean passport and together Brazilian passport. These three passports are the best in Latin America, and you probably know it. So because getting new passport is a maybe really complicated, difficult, time-consuming process and quite expensive. What is quite interesting and why Argentina may be interesting for like foreigners and for expat people is because it's very easy in Argentina to get second like Argentinian citizenship by naturalization. You just need to live here at least 2 years, to be domicilized, or you need to have a baby here, for example, and your baby immediately gets citizenship of Argentina. If you're not willing to live in Argentina for 2 years or more, another option is by investment. But the price is started from $230,000. So you have to be rich if you want to buy this Caribbean citizenship. Vanuatu is cheap. It costs like about $100,000, but it's shitty passports because with the Vanuatu passport you cannot get like a visa-free access to the EU, for example. They cancel it. So it's like it's not a good passport basically. You don't want it. Yeah, if you want any citizenship, it's good, but you won't get even to the EU, for example. EU residency. So with the EU residency, you have a lot of obligations. For example, conscription, as I mentioned, you have to pay taxes, you have to pay health and social insurance. You have to, in many EU countries, you need to attend census or full like a COVID full-scale testing, what we had in Slovakia, and there is no extra benefit from having residency, because if you're a citizen, if you have Italian passport and you want to live in the EU, you don't need residency there because you're a citizen of EU, and citizens of EU can live in EU without having the residency. Just your citizenship, your Italian passport is enough to leave the EU, and it's really bad idea to ask for the residencies there and to be and to have a lot of obligations associated with this residency. So the question is, okay, definitely if you're a European citizen or if you're Argentinian citizen or resident, you don't have like a good residency, and there are many other countries where you can ask for the better residency. For example, with almost no duties. And I strongly recommend you to ask for the residency in a country with a territorial taxation, which are basically all countries in Central America. Very close, it's Paraguay, Uruguay, Panama, Costa Rica, all these countries can provide you like a good tax residency. What is cool about Paraguay is very unique about these countries, because to get a tax residency in Paraguay, you don't need to live there a majority of your time. For example, if you want to be a tax resident of Uruguay, you have to live there at least 6 months a year. In El Salvador, you have to live at least 200 days a day, not in Paraguay. So if you're like a digital nomad, if you're like a perpetual traveler, Paraguay is probably the best option for you, and it's really close to Argentina. So exactly, Paraguay is probably the only country where you can get tax residency without living there a majority of time. So regarding international taxation, we can ask later because we have like only a few minutes here. So the worst countries for residency or citizenship are like these pink countries. So you can see it's like US, Hungary, Eritrea, Tajikistan. All these countries, they have associated tax duty with the citizenship. Then most countries like blue ones. Blue ones basically means that you are tax residents of this country if you live there majority of your time, more than 6 months. In the most of these countries, and you have an obligation to pay taxes from your worldwide income, which is definitely not a good idea. So I strongly recommend you to get tax residency in these white-blue countries, and you can see all countries in Central America are white-blue. You can see also Bolivia, or for example, Paraguay are white-blue countries. So I recommend you to ask for the tax residency in these countries. One important information is the EU tax residency. It basically means if you don't want to be tax slave of any EU country or Argentina, for example, you cannot live in Argentina more than 6 months. You can still, for example, in Argentina 5 months or 5.5 months, but you shouldn't live here more than 6 months because you are automatically becoming like a tax resident of Argentina or any EU country. One thing is all these territorial taxation countries where it's 0% tax for foreign income, these countries usually didn't sign double tax treaty agreements with the other countries. What basically means that you really have to be strict and you really cannot afford to live in your home country which doesn't have territorial taxation more than 6 months, because this country can usurp you to be tax resident. So for example, I use the application which is called Nomads. I track my time, and before I reach like a 1 month in any, before I reach like a 6 months in any country, I receive like an email warning, hey man, you should leave immediately from this country because otherwise you will become tax resident of this country. So basically I'm just moving and I don't stay anywhere more than 6 months. And it's okay for me because I love this kind of, this style of life. There is also like a way how to stay in Argentina or how to stay in the EU country without paying taxes. The only way how to do it is not to have any income as a physical person. And the question is how all these Bitcoin people have no income and enjoy like a luxury life. The only way, or it's just to live, from loans. Because even if you have savings in crypto and you start to sell your Bitcoins, it's a tax event. And it's a tax event and you have to pay, you have to declare when you sell your crypto in Argentina, you have to pay taxes. So the only way how not to pay the taxes, and many of my friends, including me, we do it, you should use your Bitcoin as a collateral, and you should use any Bitcoin like a decentralized loan system to ask stable coins. You should, for example, AAVE, for example, you will put your Bitcoin as a collateral and you ask like a stable coins. You can send these stable coins to any crypto card. I know in Europe we use like a Xapo, here is like a Lemon card, and you can live with it. And because you are not selling crypto, you are not selling Bitcoin, you have no tax events, you don't need to pay taxes. If you cancel residency in Argentina, you even don't need to pay any healthcare or social insurance. Also in the EU. So I strongly recommend you to check this option, how to live from crypto loans. Don't afraid of crypto loans, because if you're like a Bitcoin person, you can easily pay them. All rich people like Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, these people, they live from the loans. And they live from the loans just not to pay taxes. So like really rich people, they live from loans. Don't afraid just to take loan, because this is not like a tax event and you don't need to pay taxes in that situation. And there are multiple options. I recommend you like a centralized option, Farfetch, maybe Nexo. Personally, I use like AAV.com or SparkFi. And you can use like your Bitcoin as a collateral. And the cool thing is that if you're like an Argentinian company or if you're like an EU company, your company can still have a business and profit and expenses, so you can still afford to buy a lot of stuff to your company. And if you cancel a residency in the EU, and probably if you cancel a residency in Argentina, you have no obligations. I mean, no obligation to pay healthcare or social insurance if you have no income. Okay, the bank account. The problem of all EU countries, including Argentina, is that all these countries, they sign CRS, so it's like a full reporting. So in the end of the year, they send information to your tax residency that you have the bank account, like a balance of your bank account, many other informations. So if it is possible, and also like EU banks are definitely not crypto friendly, so they will cancel your bank account. So it's a very good idea to open the bank account in some different country. One important information, especially if you're a Bitcoiner, you should know that the biggest privacy risk for you, the biggest privacy threat, is a bank account. If it is possible, you should always be 100% crypto. Don't use any bank account and pay everything with crypto. But unfortunately, it's not possible every time. For example, in Argentina, what works really good is Bitrefill. There is like an application which is called Bitrefill. And with the Bitcoin or Lightning, you can buy a lot of vouchers. And you can use these vouchers in hundreds or thousands different companies in Argentina. So definitely check Bitrefill and possibility to buy these vouchers. Also, like stablecoins are super popular in Argentina. So if you use stablecoins, you can avoid like a volatility, or you can use like a hedging. There are many services. And what is cool about staying in crypto completely is that if you can afford to stay out of without the bank accounts, you can operate your offshore company in much more countries. For example, it's super easy to open the company in Panama, or super easy to open the company in Seychelles, but it's almost impossible to open the bank account for these companies, for Panamanian companies or Seychelles companies. But if you have Panamanian company with the crypto, if you have Seychelles company with the crypto, you don't need to care about bank accounts, and you can easily have like a cheap offshore company. So the question is, do I really need a bank account? If, for example, me personally, I'm trying to do business with the Bitcoin tribe, with the Bitcoin people. I don't care about the other people. If there is someone who doesn't like Bitcoin, I don't care about these like potential customers. So I'm very like picky. Sometimes it may be difficult to stay 100% crypto. In this situation, a lot of us, we use like a Bank of Georgia. It's a private banking, it's a private banking which is called Solo. And what is cool about Georgia? Georgia has one of the best banking for digital nomads, and you don't need to have a residency, or you don't need to prove your income or anything like that. And you can easily open the bank account, the best bank account in Bank of Georgia. So for example, many nomads who are like a Paragon tax residents, they use like a bank account in Georgia. It's crypto friendly because you can use like a Cyprus. You can use like a Georgian crypto exchange like a crypto.com, and they're all the best payment cards, the highest Visa, highest Mastercard you can use. So I strongly recommend you, if you're like a crypto person and you have the best, world best bank account, to open the bank account in the Bank of Georgia. We can help you with that. EU companies, the most complicated, most regulated company, high taxes, a lot of duties. Unfortunately, there are few EU countries where it can be cheap. For example, Cyprus, Ireland, Bulgaria, Estonia. But cheap means like a 12% or 10%. It's not like a 10% in Paraguay from the local income or 0% from foreign income. Okay, and if you don't do physical business, for example, in Argentina, if you don't do physical business in the EU, usually it doesn't make sense to use Argentinian company for your Argentinian customers. So if you provide any kind of services in Argentina, and it's not possible to prove the service is physically done in Argentina, it's better to use US LLC company. When you own this US LLC company as a tax resident of Paraguay only, you can achieve almost 0% taxation. Really, you can still have a customer in Argentina or the EU and pay no taxes, but you cannot live there like a majority of your time, and your business cannot be physically done here. Any services, any IT consulting can be solved in this easy way. Health insurance. I don't know the situation in Argentina, but for example, health insurance in EU is completely obligatory. So if you have the residency and you have any income, you have to pay like a healthcare insurance. For example, instead of that, I prefer international healthcare insurance. So I have like a global international healthcare insurance in the US, which is called William Russell. It is a completely private insurance, so if I have any problem, I visit like the best private hospital in Buenos Aires. I pay everything with the cash. I take a medical report. I take the receipt, factura. I send it to my US private global international insurance, that they send my money to my Georgian bank account. So it works super well. You don't need to be insured in any Argentinian healthcare insurance if you want to have really good healthcare service in Argentina, because you can use like the best private hospital here and use international global healthcare insurance. Mobile operator, okay. So I strongly recommend you. This is like a probably good website, MobMetro. It's probably the cheapest eSIM cards in the world. When you click there Argentina, you can find cheapest eSIM you can buy with the Bitcoin Lightning. Anonymously. You can use any address, because as I know in Argentina it's not possible to buy anonymous SIM card, but when you use MobMetro, you can find the best, cheapest eSIM for Argentina, for example, or Latin America, and you can buy it with a Bitcoin Lightning, and it's the cheapest one, the best one. In Europe I use, for example, Sparks. Also I use like a personal mobile operator in Paraguay. Okay, so now I would like to summarize two scenarios. One scenario is like a digital nomad. Another scenario is stay at one place. The person who cannot travel so much and lives majority of the time in Argentina or in the EU. So first, let's speak about the first scenario, opt-out digital nomad. If opt-out digital nomad means that you cannot live in any country more than 6 months. You can live, for example, 5 months in Argentina, or 5.5 months in Argentina, 5 months in Italy, 2 months in Spain, and you will be completely fine. So the crucial about this is you can stay in any country more than 6 months. In this situation, I recommend you to have the tax residency in Paraguay, because in this situation, if you don't stay anywhere more than 6 months, you will be just solely tax resident of Paraguay with almost no obligation to pay any taxes if you have income out of Paraguay. Then, for doing business in this situation, it's best if you have non-US customers to have the US LLC company. It's called disregarded company for doing business out of the US. You can stay completely in crypto, and when you have most of the freedom and privacy in this situation, when you use this company to issue invoices to your Argentinian customers, you can achieve 0% taxation. If you have US customers, in this situation you cannot use the US company, or you can use company, but you have to pay federal taxes and you will have a lot of obligations. So in this situation, I recommend you to use UK LLP or Gibraltarian company for doing business with the US customers. And at the same time, I recommend you, if you need like any bank account, I'm just finishing, okay? If you have like any bank account, if you need any bank account, I recommend you to open the bank account in a Bank of Georgia. You can easily open the bank account when you write me as an Argentinian citizen. And you can use your Paraguayan tax residency, so it also means like a no reporting. Or you can use, you can open easily Gibraltarian bank account or Swiss bank account, Xapo cryptocurrency, Dukas Company Bank, and at the same time you have to pay healthcare insurance, global healthcare insurance. Okay, so this is a scenario for people like me, people who are just traveling all the time, they don't live in 6 months. But if you live in Argentina majority of your time, so if you live here more than 6 months and you don't want to have any obligation or any taxes, it's a bit complicated, but it's still, you can still achieve it. So in this situation, I recommend to live in Argentina. It's very likely if you're Argentinian citizens, you don't need residency because you're a citizen. So it's quite so you can cancel your Argentinian citizen, cancel your Argentinian residency, and just because you have Argentinian passport, you can live in Argentina as much as you want. I think because this is how it works almost in all countries in the world. So you don't need residency here if you're like Argentinian citizenship. Residency is for like foreign people, but not for Argentinians. Argentinians, they don't need, I think so, maybe you can correct me. I think Argentinians, they don't need residency to live here if they are citizens. In this situation, if you have no income, if you have no income in Argentina, you need to pay healthcare insurance. You don't need to pay tax. You don't need to pay taxes. How it's possible to achieve it? You have to live from crypto loans. You have to use your Bitcoin as a collateral and ask for loans, like a crypto loans, and just live from these crypto loans. Then, instead of the obligatory Argentinian healthcare insurance, you can buy global healthcare insurance, and you can drive in Argentina, for example, with the Paraguayan driving license, so you don't need also Argentinian driving license. And that's all. It's always a good idea to opt out of the EU or Argentina. Thanks a lot.